today I wanted to look at statistics on immigrants and immigration in the United States, like what information people are looking at and so forth and so on. So I'm going to share this with you. I'm reading from the source, the website migrationpolicy.org. Frequently requested statistics on immigrants and immigration in the United States. So these are frequently requested statistics. Pay attention. And this was published on the spot and as a spotlight in March 14, 2019, just a couple months ago. And the story is by Jean Batalova and Michaela Boros. And if I massacred those names, I apologize. Okay, so there's a photo that's shared for those who are not able to, who are not seeing what I'm seeing. I'm going to be sharing it on YouTube anyway, but for those of you who are listening, the photo that's there you have a group of people in very colorful clothing, and they're looking at the Statue of Liberty, and they're using their phones to either record it or to take pictures. And the subtext says, "The Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor," photo by Thomas Dwyer. Editors note this article was updated on July 10, 2019 to include newly released Department of Homeland Security data on refugee resettlement, asylum grants, and deportations. Immigration seems to be ever present in current political and public debate in the United States, with the topic central in the 2016 presidential campaign. And since then, amid ongoing policy conversations about border wall construction, refugee resettlement cuts, family separation, and much more. Yet even as positions taken by political parties and individuals seemed hardened, immigration flows and the makeup of the U.S. immigrant population have been changing in significant, though not always fully appreciated, ways. Among the changes, the overall immigration population continues to grow, but at a slower rate than before the 2007 to 2009 recession. Recent immigrants are more likely to be from Asia than from Mexico and are also more likely to have a college degree. The size of the unauthorized population appears to be on the decline. Deportations from within the United States are rising, and the United States in 2018 resettled the smallest number of refugees since formal creation of the Refugee Resettlement Program in 1980. To help inform discussions around immigration, this spotlight offers in one accessible resource the most authoritative, unbiased, and current data available about the 44.5 million immigrant residents in the United States as of 2017. By compiling some of the most frequently requested facts and figures, this article provides answers to questions such as: what are the trends shaping immigration to our country? How many people have immigrated to the United States and via which channels? How many arrived as refugees and from which countries? Has the number of unauthorized immigrants changed in recent years? What jobs do immigrants fill, and how many U.S. residents are either immigrants or the children of immigrants? Very important data. So the article draws on the most recent resources and data from the Migration Policy Institute. And by the way, this information we're going to be sharing, you can find it today on our website umepress.com, because it will be shared there. So Migration Policy Institute, MPI, the U.S. Census Bureau, using its 2017 American Community Survey, ACS, 2018 Current Population Survey, CPS, and 2000 decennial census, and the U.S. Departments of Homeland Security, DHS, and state. So there are a couple of topics or themes that they have here: immigrants now and historically, demographic educational and linguistics characteristics, immigrant destinations, immigrants in the labor force, health insurance coverage, children of immigrants, permanent immigration, temporary visas, refugees and asylum seekers, unauthorized immigrants, immigrant enforcement, naturalization trends, visa backlogs. And throughout the rest of February, we're going to be going through every single one of those topics that I just shared with you. So let's look at immigrants now and historically. How many immigrants reside in the United States? Well, more than 45.5 million immigrants resided in the United States in 2017, the historical high since census records have been kept. 1 in 7 U.S. residents is foreign-born. I did not know that. 1 in 7 U.S. residents is foreign-born, according to 2017 American Community Survey ACS data. While immigrants' current share 13.7% of the overall U.S. population, that's 325.7 million people, has been increasing since the record low marked in 1970. It remains below the historical record of 14.8% hit in 1890. Between 2016 and 2017, the foreign-born population increased by about 787,000, or almost 2%, a rate higher than the 1% growth experienced between 2015 and 2016, but lower than the 3% increase between 2013 and 2014. Next question: how have the number and share of immigrants changed over time? Data on the nativity of the U.S. population was first collected in the 1850 census. That year, there were 2.2 million immigrants, representing nearly 10% of the overall population. Between 1860 and 1920, the immigrant share fluctuated between 13% and almost 15% of the overall population, peaking at 14.8% in 1980, largely due to high levels of immigration from Europe. Restrictive immigration laws in 1921 and 1924, which kept the channels to permanent immigration open almost exclusively to Northern and Western European immigrants, coupled with the Great Depression and World War II, led to a sharp drop in new arrivals from the Eastern Hemisphere. The foreign-born share steadily declined, hitting a record low of 4.7% in 1970. That's 9.6 million. We're going to go through all the data, but to find out how has immigration to the United States fluctuated over time, you can also go to the U.S. immigrant population and share over time data tool. Since then, the share and number of immigrants have increased rapidly, mainly because of large-scale immigration from Latin America and Asia, with the foreign-born population standing at 45.5 million as of 2017. Important shifts in U.S. immigration law, in bracket including the Immigration Act of 1965 that abolished national origin admissions quota, the Refugee Act of 1980, and preferential treatment of Cuban immigrants. The United States' growing economy and military presence in Asia and Latin America, economic ties, powerful immigrant networks, and deep migration history between the United States and its southern neighbors, and major economic transformations and political instability in countries around the world all have helped usher in the vast diversification of immigration flows. Our final data. Hold on. Oh no, we have 3 more to go. Okay. So the next question: how do today's top countries of origin compared to those 50 years ago. In 2017, Mexicans accounted for approximately 25% of immigrants in the United States, making them by far the largest foreign-born group. Indians and Chinese, including immigrants from Hong Kong but not Taiwan, were the next two largest groups, even comprising close to 6%, followed by Filipinos at 5%. Rounding out the top 10 were El Salvador, Vietnam, Cuba, and the Dominican Republic, about 3% each, and South Korea and Guatemala, approximately 2%. Together, these countries were the origin for 57% of the U.S. immigration population in 2017. The predominance of Latin American and Asian immigration in the late 20th and 21st centuries starkly contrasts with a trend in the mid-1900s. This is so interesting to me because I get the feeling sometimes that they're always talking about black immigrants. But when you look at the data, well, I'll let you think on that. Look at the data. And this is why I share the information, because research shows that a lot of conversations that are immigration is talked about all the time. It's one of the most topical issues. But most of those conversations are uninformed and they're not evidence-based. They lack facts. We have to know the facts or we won't be able to defend ourselves. You know what I mean? Anyway, the next question: how many immigrants have entered the United States since 2010? And what are the leading sending countries? 21% of the 45.5 million immigrants in the United States in 2017 entered in 2010 or later. 26% arrived between 2000 and 2009, 22% between 1980 and 1999, and 31% before 1990. I remember some time ago on the show I shared where Mexican or the Latino community was either already larger or will become larger in close upcoming months or years, will become larger than the black community. It's something to think about for people of color, I guess. Yes. While immigrants from Mexico dominated the flows post-1970, the makeup of newcomers has changed since the 2007-2009 recession. Recently arrived immigrants are more likely to come from Asia, with India and China leading the way. Countries such as the Dominican Republic, the Philippines, Cuba, El Salvador, and Venezuela has also seen sizable emigration to the United States. By contrast, there were fewer Mexican immigrants in the United States in 2017 than in 2010, representing the biggest decline of all immigrant groups. Is it that they didn't go or they were not allowed in? Is my question. Finally, how many U.S. residents are of recent immigrant origin? Immigrants and their U.S.-born children now number approximately 89.4 million people, or 28% of the overall U.S. population, according to the 2018 Current Population Survey, CPS. Pew Research Center projects that the immigrant origin share will rise to about 36% by 2065, and that covers our coverage on migration trends for today. I hope the information was useful for you regardless of your color, creed, or where you're from.